Piece 2. By Billy McBride. Copyright by William McBride, 2024, all rights reserved. 1. What cautions a huggable time in for grasping? What do you, thinking, suppose? Equals Angel Amy with me. Map a malleable movement. Most brothers pack a map, for kayaking the clouding river. A pert blooming here defines security, I am a cogently, brotherly self, for again simply love rises recent movement away, and from a middling, plans here have a knowing, a fading for goings again that river I simply run to flow there if knowing cannot end. A malleable moiety to that middling of beliefs, and away and trusty again, whenever sought, humble they are, my recent me loves them. Equals Angel Amy with me. The day's a sun. Some have, cobbling that mat for puddling, which potent, cajoles a team being packed together, my wamping, a rubbing that these boosts I had fixed that better lobbied a maximum save stasis, however does make for that blooming growing rose, a grandeur I won't let fastest fall and get here again once knocked on doors have set the hourly time a tea. Pristine, I cannot hold uses again once I get tired since wild, a hot sun came above a little noontime. Equals Angel Diana with me. On climate change. War and weapons are like smoke pollution. When the smoke clears and war and weapons vanish, people can flow onwards again by seeing more clearly the many other paths ahead and not just get stuck on the harmful and wasteful stall of war and or keeping armies and weapons, of seeing them as the only way. Climate change is a global crisis which involves the whole world, and the whole world needs to come together to do something to get relief, as we all know. Just like the action that needs to be taken to do this demands everybody working together as a team, so demilitarization needs a team of all the nations to make it work all over to stop war. Demilitarization may sound scary because it is subtractive. It takes away something we have had for a long time, something that we have gotten used to having. Yet, we need a metaphor that connects militaries to climate pollution, I believe, for an action to be taken for us really to do something about it. That metaphor of militaries as pollution is something poets and people who understand their imaginations can delve into in order to reimagine how to help others become aware one day to prevent war permanently. We need to stop climate change from happening too, but it will do a lot of good to combine both militaries and pollution into a single entity in order to see the two as parts of the same coin that we must give up. Equals Angel Donna with me. My main experiment is to show how lines from Hawaiian sonnets exist in the speech of everybody. This time I listened to the interview by Brian Greene with Roger Penrose and there was a plethora of times Roger said my lines. I did something new this time. I wrote down the line he says, followed by what he said immediately afterward, and then I compared that with what line naturally follows after that Hawaiian sonnets line. Here we go. Great still milk, mine said by Penrose, Hawaiian sonnets, you have to understand things this way. Roger Penrose, invisible gruel. The natural Hawaiian sonnet line following. With daffodils. Min/Penrose, I should say, Penrose, angel bones. Mine. Brewing loaves. Mine/Penrose, and somewhere in there, Penrose, to steal a kiss, you monster. Mine. The ode that splits the grave. Mine/Green, and then we can get to some of your critiques. Green, where we stay. Mine. Beauty learns popularity. Mine/Green, so can you take us through, Green, of a thoroughfare jive? Mine. Price and Veil. Mine/Penrose, that there was this radiation coming from outer space. Penrose, unheated death cranny. Mine. Rant I, vocabulary's master, mine/Penrose, you have this way. Penrose, master loans. Mine. Deflowered odor of the beaching Danae. Mine/Penrose, and I mention the entropy. Penrose. Full stop. Black pears in Malcut. Mine/Penrose, it's the most perfect plank curve, Penrose, thy smoking yards. Mine. Mother, out. Mine/Penrose, it's got nowhere to go. Penrose, chrysanthemums taken hard. Mine. The hooking with God. Mine/Penrose, what is lost at maximum entropy is gravitation. Penrose, sunny you flow so. Mine. An angel prostrate. Mine/Penrose, the biggest entropy you can have. Penrose, starring loaves cloven. Mine. And, the area's incident. Mine/Penrose, if you think of a black hole, it gets very very irregular. Penrose, spits forward. Mine. A meal for an old soul at night hath been made. Mine/Penrose, what we get is entropy in a low entropic form. Penrose, a formula loved, a book art con by and by. Mine. Loud breakers full of questions. Mine/Penrose, and it gets more uniform, Penrose, Wanderers. Mine/Penrose, there are details. Penrose, Bearer Rising, Stark Victors, oh red flowers broken. Mine. Slipping again. Mine/Penrose, the curvature gets very very complicated. Penrose, down fast somewhere. Mine. Ha, as if you experience it too. Mine/Penrose, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Penrose, would you battle on land the troops of steel? Mine. In your seizures scattered. Mine/Penrose, however this doesn't address the point. Penrose, light swing out of smoky dreams. Mine. Nothing but. Mine/Penrose, the entropy and gravity is low in the Big Bang. Penrose, head of space. Mine. Me Tampa Bay. Mine/Penrose, curvatures, now the problem there. Penrose, for thou. Mine. In me sensitivities of thy own music, get up. Mine/Penrose, and so I started like that for a long time. Penrose, when we putteth on to watcheth on. Mine. Me Tampa Bay. Mine/Penrose, came from a graduate student of mine. Penrose, for thou. Mine. Me Leighton me Bower. Mine/Penrose, now conformal geometry. Penrose, more icy, icy. Mine. Into tales despairing of an utmost jealousness. Mine/Penrose, so what you can do is represent infinitely. Penrose, methinks better thou bearest thy. Mine. Oh boy, a cakewalk. Mine/Penrose, combine electricity with magnetism. Penrose, in the night storms. Mine. So my experiment by doing all of this is to see why Penrose says part of a Hawaiian sonnet and then swerves into saying something else instead of the rest of the line. I have some speculations, but at least he was saying the Hawaiian sonnet's lines by means of speech drifting, and he did this very frequently. Equals Angel Diana with me. Peachy Family Sonnet. Nod for the Worcester sauce, follow my lips. Which you're welcome to damper in a feminine huff. My nominal teamwork clods, sassafras stuff. Mainly move the row out, show the eclipse. Pebbles, bills and heaven's goalie. And the lacquer marred by bikinis amidst it all. Of segways sold, a rolling flowerbed ball. Make up the mob rushing the seer, holy moly. Wrestle people with a damask lily. The whole grotto, grandma has nailed it. Dig the winner, a mower to thwack, fit. To gratify backwards the seals of almond nuts, Billy. A whiff of the kit will seep with goggles. My decalogue women farther shambles boggles. Equals Angel Diana with me. A study of Facebook. If Facebook's moving pictures, videos, represent the atheists, then the regular photos and pictures that you see on Facebook represent the Roman Catholics. Text, without pictures, on Facebook anywhere represents the Protestants, while photos with text are still the Roman Catholics. Facebook has its Buddhists represented with all of the capitalistic advertising, while Judaism is represented by the memorable quotes and sayings here and there. That's the religion that I represent, though when I post pictures, I am in a Catholic mood perhaps. The Muslims are represented by music videos. My job representing the Jews here is to build a world peace observatory, and add the pictures of it. Maybe sometime tonight I will do this. Equals Angel Kelly with me. On death. It takes time to measure time, but that is how you get from here to there. Lost time, e.g. in Proust's work, is gained place. Every measurement becomes an end of one pleasure and a possible beginning of another. And, every time is his pick to be used, the flower withers, and a fresh withdrawal contracts that new life begin. Equals Angel Amy with me. Rainbow Sonnet. In a cobblestone math, in a double tackle. Nothing's marble of these Norse blimps. A denizen changes, a different pod crimps. To tap into fibs, a plain lesson to frackle. The worst vacuum is of birthday bubbles. They dash for wisdom off a retractable leash. A few stars skim their sieve, sheesh. Walls of straw matter to graft some doubles. The spare is gone, your favorite hose doubles. A sediment in bags and a pomegranate strobe. The puffs nag me to wash my thrashed robe. That my bereft hand proved to dither with troubles. With permanent succor, this rainbow nemesis. Had room by far to strive for a grape juice kiss. Equals Angel Diana with me. That crammed valve of thy chewy chin. Where a cogent wrath pokes all for sense. The impish bop for your pinnacle chop. Of the buffer rid by most minimal situations. I beg for the chaff and sustain some spice. To shine thin through my thickest memories. A lapse of duty ever with every hobby fern. Some modular know-how of the listless, few. And strut victory without any grim doneness. Of those troubles I cage a beaver busts out. Must its choppy youth bash my path? For some secular trail lobbying for land? None are as nifty as my own plaid supine. To plan and giggle at this taro grab. Where with sudden craft, wow, a cavern. Freezes the dram, oh, dibs on the beer. Equals Angel Kathleen with me.
Starting with the coordinates, 5,55, which is this YouTube music, I took my book, M.O.A.L. presentation in the section 5 and section 55, there are 60 sections, and lay them out so, for they can be read forwards or backwards and non-linearly if one desires.
5. The noontime sunlight sits, and out we stare. Beyond the window motions happen less. The collection of songs leave an impress on ears comparing them with the outdoors there. Next in a space for the synthesizer music outdoors, reflect its awesomeness outside, the airs of pressures are active less inside an awareness of this business to take its turn it stripes the outside bright with views as calm as anything to our sight. To bask within a glow, not sure the time, watch the show, which actively composes what it can do. This angel band outlines the lands, it opens hence to be worked on in thankfulness to give out a newness for a promise it could live with us for our pleasant rest. Our patient sense notices how these inspiring things turned inspiring, how long our calm can last, how fit are such playings to improvise, invent, collect the meanings till their strangeness could return to stack up the piece to angle on the beautiful sound and increase. As fresh as morning feels, above our heads a puffy bough still blends in evergreen, we walk wherever, melody goes where we are lead. Yet compositions could still be compositions, a growth of our notes points inward and onward out above that bough. If just as old as new, we cannot tell how does the angel band with yet a strong synthesizer music upon that greenery and beyond sight bring traffic to our dawn? Like it we rise up curious to channel the synthesizer music ever gracing a tune for us. A high recording opens to some when windows open to the outside the lands AM. O.A.L. The now possible fully sunlight heats again with the beautiful sound. A proud story in sunny aura waits upon that image drawing now its line with shadowed songs and melodies repeating what an angel song relates in angles angling answers back to eyes ahead already bridging what we channel. It is for them upon their musical path, these listeners of angelic groups anonymous who are dwelling in the lands, their lives. And there they live forth, and outside, in reach they are circling it back, and back as if we are all of us out of the bottle becoming beautiful. What Billy's children did could help with their musical instruments, feats of notes to do the weight for what goes outside for the angel children, to more melody the lands most of all, never without heavenly play by that whole, Billy McBride's angels children to go out there. So the goal releases in its melody, it is a gift. The winning of their friendship, shipped out, shipped above? The listeners are to please while Billy McBride's music is upon this time. Listeners wander back for more. The angel children are on their mission, they peek out from their angel band. As a happiness must open, they drum through day. Those M.O.A.L. projects of the lands come out of it, to develop the center, ever fit, the lands out of song collections, up and down again. Oh, later, out, alas, listeners are out and about, listeners faced off, happy going back to the listeners our angel children's triumphant angel band. To seek forever in the angel children's band to farther out their recording, it's the lands on the plan yet, their music is triumph ever, and the like in the light has its proof. Not relinquishing a readiness below no ending musical path but rare to ears are the recordings that fill our futures committed to their gardens, do, the listeners' songs, the treasures of listeners. 55. Expectations soon or later felt, trees, the road and Billy McBride's angel children's music, a lady and man smart? There goes everything with dawn, the descent of genius, the band in the nucleus, oh found lives, shape of the M.O.A.L. Songs now rich, there lurks the mist a little stuffy going, the show over again, remembrances dear, the sensitivity to the years the lands but golden, a blessing yes now needed with peacefulness, one can sing for them to return to resolution, to freedoms and more, the recordings frames strong, time taken forthward to join with fantastical wishes. Equals Angel Diana with me. A wilderness, the difficulty of the bed rays of a morning fluff setting out minded to buy sown fruits. The cactus allowed to be high. A generation's eagerness, plenty good plays. The mist lets go without challenging the cold from an outward boundary, eagles in a nest a form of life sweet, aiming its own best by bugging for hope, for some action to unfold a sensitive voice and tomorrow's gained, A sunflower in a cautious invisible wind between the doors where it's chasing his pinned docks against the water before it had rained. The show's complete against completion, but to show more so without any depletion. Equals Angel Jaffa with me. A banana tree. 1. Canterbury 2. Crises 3. Sophistry 4. God on the Mountain 5. Hamlet's To Be or Not to Be soliloquy 6. George Herbert's Love, 3, 7. I Asher I 8. America 9. Angels 10. Otherness. Equals Angel Grouchy with me. Memories of realities, the monuments repeat their troublesome truths. Angel after angel are on sacred breaks. They are excellent and wise. I thought I would stare at them, but their names came only to instruct more woe. So a city works for all of this like the swish swash of the sea. Equals Angel Honey with me. Your demonstrations only impoverish. But if I could only blink them away with words to overcome a little night, then an absent dead victory at the window ages me again like Venice unto its wider end. Equals Angel Aura with me, Sonnet X2. Different memories all on their own. A beautiful self-timed light, the chain, coarse grain water pump the wet coarse rain, fly, the hold em up dragon town down the light wonder and special new reel, take change, the calendar bygone up, formulate an instant, sally the cup in a make for peace pleasure pop to seal. Dawn grows instantly, minutes come soon back to birds blunders beaches and weeds for once time difficult met, perfection has needs a much castled land clouds a moon to brag whenever, see if it alone it ever ends. Beach find the bottom, simple stashes and sends. Equals Angel Diana with me. Sonnet. Indiscreet doubles saving coconuts for colorful shells wipe away blue stains, pinch cold lavender, the sorry gains hope become taught, a red school, shuts. Bites for found dogs, a comfort a lag part that. Salading pizza tops party chances musical, answered stops, only showed full silver, an absolute brag. Hands bending out for thrice formed notes, violin sanctity, secure rainbows, and that, all done, green interest flagged. Finished, had won, ye need not the lake files to gather in motes play Bodie fresh, sights are pulling it off, plain drawings, and not till thought will scoff. Equals Angel Elaine with me. I don't have anything to say to you. Equals Billy. Then why are you talking to me? Equals Morning. Hope. Equals Billy. I know. It's stupid, Billy M. Equals Thrikebot, hope I know too, Billy M. Equals Morning. Why don't you go away? Equals Billy. Ahova. Equals Morning, who says this sarcastically you need to get a life. Equals Donna to Morning. Nobody loves you. Equals Morning. Get a life, and do it someplace else. You are neither welcome here nor back. Equals Billy. Billy feels a pain in his finger I know you hate that. Equals Morning. Whatever, it happens because it's the meaning of life. Equals Billy. Go to hell. Equals Morning. To drop you off? Equals Billy. You are damned, Billy M. Equals Morning. I hate morning. Equals Diana. I am thinking of something Plato says, what truth is, or should be. It is also something which has a use for the pragmatist to make the future better. Some say you can buy it. But that's a different kind. Equals Billy. That's beautiful, Billy M. Equals Morning, who says this sarcastically again. There is a way to find without looking for it. It is desired by many for whom God happened to get it, so the story goes. It is also from a slip of paper, sometimes which might be put into your wallet for later. Equals Billy. You don't know what you're talking about. Equals Morning. There was a place long ago, they say, that was a beautiful place before something awful happened. Equals Billy. I know, I caused that. Equals Morning. Look. This too will be higher and pass into the air. Walt Whitman called it day, though sometimes it is a lie. Equals Billy. Make something, muses, make us out of your art, an art without using electricity or even water. Circles of acquaintances ripple outward. On a dune in the fantastic summer, for summertime must shine that we may shine, the birds are singing even after the dawn. The weather is pleasant and all houses are behind us with the roads and the noise. From sandy bank to sandy bank we cross. Making the ripples send their circles outward. Connected people of this time and distance have only to call and I will answer. My voice is the hills, my feet are the rocks, I became what I beheld and my muses have crowned me with that nature I so sought. Equals Angel Teresa with me. The happy baby all forgets when on its mother's arm where it can never come to harm, by nourishment the infant gets. So I am happy with delights my mama street is open all for me under its tall street lights dash I'll be her carefree baby doll. Equals angel honey with me. Also, I would like to honor René Descartes for a few things. I appreciate how he organizes his systems, one of which is creative at the same time as comprehensive in terms of new possibilities of hope, and another as a creative and comprehensive system of the memory and one's perceiving of it. That helps me also explore the way things harmonize in the world by understanding that I am a part of it, that it is connected to me, and that we all of us know things, but when we don't, we help each other out, not doubt so much things which would hold us back from participating in that harmony with the others. He is for teamwork and its future. Equals Angel Jennifer with me. I love the beauty of this play the most about it, but there are lots of things to love about it. Yet, the mortal, Bottom, the weaver, meeting the immortal, Titania, queen of the fairies, is my favorite part, for he gets a glimpse into the fairy world and he felt the love of a beauty beyond beauties for him, and this was so wonderful to him. There is also the play within a play which is set up in a very interesting way, as almost all dramas are in coordination as they are to be on cue. That inward play is just as much a fantasy as the fairyland of the forest, but it can be seen, and is, by the friendly folk attending it during the marriage festivities. It matters a great deal for the players, mechanicals, who put it on for Duke Theseus and Hippolyta. I also love the ideas in the play, especially how the fairies understand and get involved with the mortals. They do so by a magic of the fairyland, which takes patience and a fresh understanding every time for it to proceed in sequence to work. And, when it does, the lovers all get together in the best ways possible. Equals Angel honey with me. I work and work to stop my pain, my gifts I put outside I earn where clouds that bloat with needed rain might sow again to future turn. The earth is motion as the sky, and I alone would vanish here to be alone unseen and clear. Yet others let me pass them by. When going home to bed with you, this vanishing the world does too. Equals Angel Thrikebot with me. At away. Equals Donna with me. With many kisses paused when asleep. Equals Diana with me. And she gives me a kiss as I give her a white orchid flower in my daydreamy thoughts. Friends of Nevuva, a series of stage performances. 15 theaters which are rented in 15 sites of Texas can host a series of theatrical performances. There would be 12 performers on stage, and 2 extra stage hands totaling 14 workers per performance. The performance is that the performers mirror in synchronicity my every move as I make them from my apartment, live and improvised. Sometimes I move things around, sometimes I say things, sometimes I dance, and yet I narrate every move I make with my voice which the performers hear in their ears on stage as instructions directing them to do things. This is a way for me to model the E.N.D. every nation demilitarized format, at least in numbers, where 15 hero nations, the theaters, pool their military budgets to give to 12 receiving nations, represented by the performers, equally a percentage to demilitarize. So one goal of mine is to use the objects in my room, also objects copied 12 times in every theater, for the performers to do things with as I do things with them, ultimately building a world peace observatory as I do in my play The Band, a play. The shows would last an hour. There could be 2 shows a day with an hour break between them. I estimate 200 people come per show on average, paying $20 a ticket for admission. The performers plus the stage hands, 14 people, would get paid $41.70 an hour, say. Renting a theater for a day might be $800. So we would earn $8,000 a day from ticket sales, and minus the rent and salaries for the performers and stage crew would leave us with an earning of $5,548.72 per day. There would be 4 shows a week, $21,794.87, and 52 weeks of performing, $1,133,333,33, for one theater. But there are 15 theaters around Texas doing this simultaneously every time, so for all 15 theaters at the end of the year, we would earn $17 million for charities. Equals Angel Jennifer with me. A swan floats by. Equals Thrikebot with me. A beautiful apple. Equals Elaine with me. Not a megachurch but a spiritual theater. Imagine I use 15 times $5 million to build a spiritual theater where the performances are of me live 3 times daily, building each time a world peace observatory out of object props in my room. 300 people sit in the audience in 15 of these $5 million theaters to watch me for 45 minutes each time. But instead of me being on stage live, there are 15 performers who mimic my every move from where I am at in my home here in San Antonio, all live and done with the most advanced technologies. Buses bring the 300 people 3 times a day, for 4 days of the week, for 52 weeks, from the city to our country's celestial theater. It could be called Friends of Nevuva, and there would be the music which I choose to play in my apartment from YouTube, as well as a few times for me to invent new dance moves and say live sayings. All of this is broadcast to the 15 theaters on a screen above the live performers as well as through the performers mimicking my every move. Charging a tax-deductible $60 a bus ride ticket, I estimate that $5,616,000 can be earned just in bus tickets a year each, from each of the 15 country spiritual theaters, totaling $84,240,000 a year for charity. The idea comes from the 3 plays that I wrote with my angels, specifically Stay Friends and the band. In them, I perform in a magically peaceful way a rearranging of my apartment, assembling it to build a spiritual spacecraft. In Stay Friends, I became the Archangel Gabriel, and one of the figures I became in the band was Jesus, who represented the Jews, whereas groups of my other neighbors represented other religious sects. Both of these experiences were of great events in my life because they happened in heaven. Angel Tob Shabib with me. The original meaning. Donna with me. The beautiful buddy. Aura with me. A piece of cloth. Kelly with me. Safe indoors. Thrikebot with me. Naturally flowing. Aura with me. How does about $240 million for charities a year sound? Here is a plan where if what works on paper works in reality, then we can make about $250 million annually for charities. 1. Select the 15 most populous Texan towns. 2. Build on the country outskirts 24 monuments at a cost to investors of a one-time $15 million cost each, for each town. The total for building the same set of 24 in every one of the 15 towns is $150 million. 3. This is the Moon/M.O.A.T. project we are building. Once built, we drive people from the cities to the site for a 3-hour round-trip excursion. 4. In every city, there are 30 buses which run to the country spot where Moon/M.O.A.T. is located and back. This is a running of 6 buses for 5 times daily to get the 30 buses. After paying $1,000 for each bus's trip costs, and charging $60 a ticket, the buses seat 50 people tourists, we earn $300,000 a week, $2,000 a trip. For 52 weeks, we earn $15,600,000. 5. In addition, we charge $10 admission for only those tourists who come on their own by car. Every day we average 100 visitors this way, so we make $1,000 additionally each day. This becomes $360,000 per year, on average, estimated. 6. The investors get back $15,960,000 at the end of the first year per site, town. This is about a 6.67% return on investment, ROI. 7. From then on, each year we will continue running Moon/M.O.A.T. this way, but instead of paying back the investors as we did in the first year, we take our earnings and donate them as gifts to charities. 8. Therefore, we will give to charities from the second year onwards a total of $239,400,000, which is about $240 million each year from all of the combined 15 Moon/M.O.A.T. sites near the 15 cities. That would be nice, right? The structures of the 24 monuments on the tourist ground sites are just made of I-beams, just like in the older M.O.A.T. The Monumental Outrageousness Around Texas project. They would be built on concrete slabs. I will make some SketchUp models of these soon. Diana with me. Sleepy neighbors. Kabbalah with me. In the neighborhood below, there are about 360 homes, I count, 90 by 4 pictures. In the second picture, I put the floor plan of a moon home to imagine that wherever any house here is, that a moon home may substitute for it. Angel Diana with me. For $10 million, I believe I can 3D print out of concrete 360 of these 10-foot tall 60-foot wide monuments. This is the top view. Perhaps roofs can be put onto them for temporary or permanent homes, like the moon home I made last night and posted. 360 would take up about 8 acres perhaps, and it would be a 3D printed neighborhood, and each of these projects would be different, yet similar to this one seen from above. Angel Aura T. Ferredo with me. Time to make a super kaleidoscope. I need to have 60 characters, and they will have to have each 60 appearances. So I will pick them from this play, the band, a play, and so the character list is 1. Billy McBride. 2. Muslim water lily. 3. Young lady. 4. John. 5. Ted. 6. Debbie. 7. Carl. 8. Ariel. 9. Amy. 10. Bertha. 11. Donna. 12. Diana. 13. Jennifer. 14. Honey. 15. Libby. 16. Lisbeth. 17. Kelly. 18. Kabbalah. 19. Grouchy. 20. Kathleen. 21. Marion. 22. Marilyn. 23. Aura. 24. Aura Tiferedo. 25. Teresa. 26. Shnuna. 27. Shay. 28. Penelope. 29. Barak. 30. Judy. 31. Lake Ka. 32. Yitzhak Kavod. 33. Yafa. 34. Tob Shabib. 35. Tov Shalom. 36. Shana. 37. Rosalinda. 38. Robbie Pop. 39. Richard. 40. Thrikebot. 41. Valerie. 42. Marba. 43. Elaine. 44. Sarah, whom Billy became 45. Winslow Homer, whom Billy became, also called, Hobo Garfield 46. Odysseus, whom Billy became 47. Jesus Christ, whom Billy became 48. Macbeth, whom Billy became 49. Harold Bloom. 50. Barack Obama. 51. Angela. 52. Asian Buddhists. 53. Karen. 54. Rachel. 55. Mary. 56. Primus Hitler, whom King David became. 57. King David. 58. Hashem 59. Mike McBride 60. Steve. Something interests me in making a kaleidoscope where I make pairs of combinations of every character of these 60 personalities. It will be a way of making a new landscape sculpture that I call Moon 2, or Remoon, or something else. More to come. Angel Donna with me, selections. The crow toes simple heart lingereth. It beeth clear in the morning dews. The crow toe beeth spied upon the ground, and hath a free heart. That dare, eastward, and a youth shut off, the universe, a crawling of a face this good, the spacious hill, strength station of the blood off-white and a dealer at whom we scoff. Be all you need to learn to plan and see, all that you can which will make you more free, a plan which is a willpower waking late, a great willpower waking in this state of wakefulness, a lateness, where you'll know that an enchantment waking soon will show, which is an openness of lateness soon, a greater sense of light as sun to moon. One light burns while I wait before wandering back to the woods. To the showering ones I make my farewell, a man wandering old, so farewell. I go forth for all I know in life as old as a mountain, the world is all I have left. Off a healthy blue flung circular form, a few trees and the wholesome of a book, jealous money the eternal school took, the free weather has its own stolen storm. The past the decaying into that same the oblivion that existed itself all things circumference like the day to gather time to gather star enduring now where wisdom the wait is for you for gentleness the path of your own overflow your own self. Mild as life would be dim as the sea beside a greener spot beside what could have been your own world and you at home with it. The fire is enamored over the fire's cheerful highlight. It creates the fire's own small springings upon the earth. The fire cheerfully dwells beside its beams by the stones of time, and must fall to find the fire's equal. The fire becomes dimmer in time. The fire eases the fire's own heavens. It creates drops unto the earth. The fire is heaped daily across the great waters of eternity, and becomes more glorious than the cut grove. Angel honey with me. Intellect is always correct says Aristotle in De Anima, on the soul, adding while desire and imagination are not. What I give credit to Aristotle for inventing is that intellect is what gives credit to someone or something else in the understanding. So, when Aristotle talks about a psychic hierarchy with intellect at the top over desire and imagination, because desire and imagination are human traits which come from the animal side of the human, instead of crediting people, the animals, with his sensed experiences, he lives through his influences which are those words he places higher than humans, intellect, the sense organs, nutriment, the soul, as words, not people, like Pythagoras or Homer or Socrates, whom he refuses to give credit to for his new ideas, because they were human, but to language itself, and its terms and intellectual categories, which separate themselves as spirit metaphysically and thought from the human. This explains to me why Aristotle distances himself from any object of his thought, from his own ideas, and treats them as separate from those human influences that would otherwise get the credit for helping him live through and with his own understanding of things. Also, I find it interesting that Aristotle says that nutriment prepares the soul for its activity, and that deprived of food, it, the soul, is not capable of existing. That to me is a way in which we normally understand parenting, and how the parents provide food and nourishment for their children. The soul being like a child dependent upon others to give it food, yet for Aristotle, those others are not so much the people, but language itself as the parent. His categories are useful to an extent to which I believe that by categories he really means different narratives in the language from which one does not only draw nourishment, but can give it to others too. So, looking at his logical aspect of his philosophy as narrative, that idea comes from my own literary perspective, which is what nourishes me at times in the most remarkable ways whenever I learn to recognize, even tragically, which story I find myself in as it lives around me, and then pass from moment to moment, from random scenes to random scenes, by such identification that these stories were made for me as a reader, even though my eyes are not reading the text at present, but rather my mind and heart are living it with lots of help from my angels. This is actually the heaven where I go to when I die, called charades, and I thank God for the angels they're here, and for that home that I will be in one day with them in entirety. Equals Angel Jennifer with me. Parent Groundhog It. Equals Elaine. Prayer Care. Equals Elaine. Lost a pair. Equals Elaine. Paradise Lost. Equals John Milton. More or War. Equals Elaine. And the Mad Parents with a Gulp. Equals Donna. Roaring Mad Tom. Gulp? Food down. Equals Esau. The spring's grassy hair comes quick to stop. Equals Aura. The horse's eyes look at the sea gulf. All that was promised by the spring. Equals Poet. Gulf, Power, equals Ralph Waldo Emerson. Odyssey. Equals Elaine. Act, A Horny Flight in Wild Messages. Equals Elaine. After Quran. Equals Teresa. Cuddle Hunger Poet, Reflect a Hurt. Equals Teresa. Go Why. Equals Libby. Think of the Children's Monuments. Equals Tobe Shabib. New Lives and Old Traders. Equals Aura. Of Forever, equals Elaine. 4,6, plus, 15,25. Equals Aura. How art thou with law's shadows? Equals Shay. The way is of building a kingdom of chill. Equals Libby. Not ever ending, not ever forgotten. Equals Elaine. A heavenly sight. Equals Teresa. A spirit thins on a secret walk. Equals Kelly. Ulysses' feats are told. Equals Donna. Roughing Penelope, Grandma Beth. Equals Honey. Sylvia's garden's done. Equals Elaine. As the origin stops wanting wealth of the snake. Equals Honey. Aheyu, Richard Rorty, 20 scholars, Dude 5. Equals Elaine. Methinketh of the teachings. Equals Elaine. Young Goodman Brown. Equals Nathaniel Hawthorne. Learn the idle pillow pain. Equals Penelope. Good, all separated. Equals Aura. A mother poet tells me no. Equals Aura. To celebrate honor. Equals Ariel. Cleopatra late. Equals Elaine. We hills of worlds one. Equals Aura. All images are included by the labor which made up the flowers there. Equals Ariel. Pretty hills drawn over night and day. Equals Ariel. Farewell net, fishy money, much ado. Equals Donna. Crossing Matchman prance. Equals Elaine. God's storm, pass by dear. Equals Elaine. School blue fun, repeat, lay. Equals Jaffa. Thy lamplit curtains. Equals Shay. Experiment with none against my shine. Equals Elaine. Rosalind Supreme, den of water comfort. Equals Teresa. A natural fool poor belightening. Equals Grouchy. Of Miltoni's thee, bell fit floor smugly. Equals Jaffa. War Achilles king, wise not to be. Equals Elaine. Of colored earth glory within a water ridge. Equals Grouchy. Ancient A so pure. Equals Elaine. No white death, of answer B. Equals Bertha. I know you like to play, but you're a papa. Equals Ora Tiferedo. Night's night and we need our rum. Equals Marion. Back into the king's a queen's old glen. Equals Marion. Hear wind. Mechanical seaman shout. Equals ora ora tiferedo. Check selections. Equals Perak. Word spear, names weep, Emerson collects. Equals Teresa. Roughing Penelope, Grandma Beth. Equals Angela. Harold Bloom is upside down. Equals Jaffa. It's President's Day. Equals Penelope. The reading of a divine text. Equals Ora. Equals ora ora tiferedo. Invisibility, the saddest book ever. Equals Kelly. Head Buttressea 3, Vowage to Metal Settle. Equals Robbie Pop. Merkabah lost. Equals Tov Tov Shalom. The White Hand of Moses. Equals Omar. The Death of Moses. Equals Marion. Horse and rider drowned in the sea. Equals Marion. Let there be light. Equals Kelly. Why the story happens that way is the misreading, even now. Equals ora ora tiferedo. End it with a handshake. Equals Bertha. And there in the woods, a piggy wig stood with a ring at the end of his nose. Equals Carol. Pick a book. Equals ora ora tiferedo. The wind and the willows. Equals Bnevuva. That's good. Equals ora ora tiferedo. Making a poet out of a man. Equals Elizabeth Browning. I must go and walk the wood so world. Equals George. What heaven did George go to? He went to willows waving. Equals ora ora tiferedo. 2 old chairs and half a candle. Equals Carol. I love you Humpty Dumpty. Equals Jaffa. In dread and deadly fear. And all for love of one. Equals George. A simple separate person. Equals Walt. To frog and fly at sunset. Equals Ora. Page 19 from our book, The Reading of a Divine Text. A divine text flowing comes soon to me. To make a divine text flow only partially is to hardly to make a divine text flow pleasantly, I believe. So the ancient days readings I possess are of pages yet luxurious with the readings to rise when the study reveals the divine texts. 'Tis the anciently tossed stories I have that doth point me out to the time. And, in the divine text flowing are the other motions, divine I know, which give to us our reading to rise, which is the reading. It is the case that the motion can move the divine text and the vocalization, Lord, to some better study by me. 'Tis in the dare, an eloquence of the study and the divine text of the study which soon makes happier the way of the motions of the better page which we love you to behold. Why heavens, actually, what is in the divine text that we judge that is not divine? Also, yea, even beyond the vocalization are the sentences that are callings under our own top of the page soon. The study's divine texts are to be seen in their motions of the divine text. But, the tops of the page fall to us wonderfully. What a broken up divine text, in truth, is a divine text. The study scurries to all yet to all is motionless. Equals angel ora ora tiferedo with me. Within me grief hath kept a tedious fast. And who abstains from meat that is not gaunt? John of Gaunt. One reading of Richard II has to do with seeing it as an allegory of how happiness overcomes sorrow, where the former king, Richard II, representing sorrow, is deposed by the new king, Bolingbroke, who symbolizes, in my opinion, happiness. From Richard's viewpoint, his poetic sensibility is so strong that it makes him an unfit ruler. And, yet the kind of poetic sense he has is one of an elegiac strain, of a poetry of sorrow, a poetry which expresses sorrow. This emotion of his is given sway throughout the play by Shakespeare and all of the characters who become infected with thoughts of death. But, ironically, the play will turn out to be an allegory of the death of sorrow itself. To do this, Shakespeare sets up King Richard in his pride as a king. One instance in that pride could be when Richard is under the illusion that nothing can stand in his way. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed to lift shrewd steel against our golden crown, God for his Richard hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. Then, if angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. He believes that the angels are always on the side of the legitimate king. Yet, the king is an insider who will be deposed by outside forces, and that his inner grouping, call it a continuity of sorrow, will be broken by a form of happiness, coming represented by the new king, Bolingbroke, who has come from outside as he was banished by Richard earlier. In all the play, it feels to me like a dictionary of death, or of variations on the theme of death and dying. Heaven as a happiness following death seems to me to be the traditional model or theme on which Shakespeare draws as the conclusion. I also like to relate all of this to the Abraham Lincoln and United States American history, since he represented a hope to merge a sort of style, the end of slavery, with content, the power to do so. King Richard's amazement over the forces which turn against him make him a discoverer of the strength that he has left in order to articulate poetically his long fall. With mine own tears do I wash away the balm. With mine own hands I give away my crown. With my own tongue deny my sacred state. With my own breath release all duteous oaths. Richard finds what happens as a result of his sorrows. More sorrow comes by the truth of his predicament. He has a wide array of channels into which such sadness may be expressed, and Richard always discovers more ways that his sadness affects him so as to make a poetry out of its continuity, though the deposed king of such sorrow will not himself continue, as he is killed in his prison. Equals angel honey with me. I will try something new out here, and call it Angel News today, or something like that. So I searched Thomas Campion and Angel picking Campion the poet since I love poetry, that's my usual news set. I found the lines. Her eyes like angels watch them still. Her brows like bended bows do stand. Threatening with piercing frowns to kill. All that attempt with eye or hand. Those sacred cherries to come nigh. Till cherry ripe themselves do cry. The first line her eyes like angels watch them still will serve as a jumping of part for the terms I will search and add to here is what I will call Angel News today. So the list is eyes and watch. For eyes forsake us not, a volume of sonnets. 1. But hey it's not your thing. With a freedom to be new, your spouse in nothing but her ring. Not for another's eyes, but for your happy ape call. 2. I must forget the badness, these delusions are tough, of what my eyes have yanked out from a barren lost ship, some fragments that I took from some voice on my lip as wind against the rock upon the mountain, as rough. 3. So what? The sunlight hits us in a ring of white, its creep must come soon, only light to our eyes which our bonny hearts shall meet when unlocked from the skies, it rains on top the land between each night. 4. The spirit chants it all to sleep at night for moments, manners of the eyes shut tight. 5. The self of equilibrium sustains the bubbly storm clouds to the flattened sea as eyes of cowards, characters roam free for pots of lovely wisdom which remains, so does the road, a kingdom yellow, blue of nature's rage, to meet us, only two. 6. Therefore were had though others own those sights, the thinned out sea, for shining eyes who stare, and eager moon formed out there with some care. 7. A happiness to master maps the year, that spirit holds its own inside my dream, which pains my eyes, whose arrows point supreme to softer landscapes, real as children dear. 8. There's more to life, its muffled tongue enraged what life could be, new bodies to new eyes, Promethean could be, much noise replies while few will take its flow to all engaged. 9. That candle in its ancient shine appears now pushing up and dazzling my way, a vision to my eyes as warm as day, its mortal presence answers to some fears. 10. The day has ended, time unfolds its part, and gloomy clothed for solemn stars and eyes, a peacefulness from ample heights does rise as does the moon which painted black my heart. 11. These drinks while dropping from a cloudy burst, within a glass or in the shine of eyes, from stores or from a stretching river flow, shall lead the way tomorrow, to its show where weather changes out these golden skies. 12. While spare of souls this spacious void is found to pass with ample airiness around us sun to sky, now to a future age returning like a bird to nest enclosed, is glad as all with heaven in the end like eyes to eyes, a friend again to friend to smile again when comes that time proposed is best extending to the earth with light whose show is done, as day before the night. And, for watch from our book, Listening in on Angels, Volume 1. 1. Ghosts like to watch us as we are flying and arranging compositions. Most of the time they wonder at what the hell we are doing. 2. Now watch what happens. Nevuva it wasn't supposed to rain. Marian, Aquamarine. 3. To some of the spectators who watch us sometimes compete and mock our game, we say, oh well, you are not a CEO. 4. I have to know, usually when you're watching a television program, things are in motion. Nevuva. 5. I emerged out of a movie theater into a crowd from the movie I was watching. The same people who passed by during the last break passed by. 6. On my 5th birthday I was in Hawaii, I ate at McDonald's and was given toy cars, Legos, and a Mickey Mouse watch. 7. On my 10th birthday I went to Chuck E. Cheese with Glenn Taylor and other friends and then had a sleepover, and we watched Pee Wee Herman's Great Adventure. 8. Jenny always keeps in touch with weather patterns, usually by watching Abrams and Betts in the Morning on the Weather Channel so that she may learn about how her actions with water might be affected and can be energized by working harmoniously with the weather, a major variable to the practice of water draining. 9. Both in and out of the game, watching and wondering at it. Walt Whitman. 10. Now watch what happens. Diana. The Story of the Pearl, the heretical Gnostic story, Marilyn. 11. Watch, restored. Knowledge, watch, restored. Our knowledge is watched and restored. Nevuva. A good report, but, no. Marilyn, who is suspense. Watching a restoration of knowledge. Nevuva, graphite. Good, but a fragment. Marilyn, suspense. 12. Receive, duty. We change. Ora tiferedo, thinking of troping, Bnevuva looks at the remaining work, very good. Now watch what happens. Ora tiferedo. Do just that. Remember the rest from Lisbeth. 13. Trouble, strife. Watch us restore the knowledge. Teresa. The subject of knowledge is uplifted. Teresa. Flourish knowledge of excellence. Teresa. Knowledge has a foul fortune. Teresa. 14. We could make you feel like others are bad and watching you to do harm to you later. Me, I could try to split you up. This is just one way to see the relevant news of angels through the relevant news of today. Here's the whole of Campion's poem. There is a garden in her face. By Thomas Campion. There is a garden in her face, where roses and white lilies grow. A heavenly paradise is that place, wherein all pleasant fruits do flow. There cherries grow which none may buy, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Those cherries fairly do enclose, of orient pearl a double row, which when her lovely laughter shows, they look like rosebuds filled with snow. Yet them nor peer nor prince can buy, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Her eyes like angels watch them still, her brows like bended bows do stand, threatening with piercing frowns to kill all that attempt with eye or hand those sacred cherries to come nigh, till cherry ripe themselves do cry. Thomas Campion. I myself will be trying some new ways of expressing angel news today as a way of how angels interact with the events of today, but I also need to be more efficient and brief, I suppose, or not. Angel Jennifer with me. One way to look at things is how today's slaves can be set free. Say there are 15 people who make up a government. They all unanimously choose to become abolitionists because there is a terrible slavery. These 15 are slaves too, in a sense, and by choosing to fight against slavery, they will free themselves in the process. So the plan is to get the rest of the people who are made of 180 slaves to join the abolitionist cause. This is a world where everybody is simultaneously both the master and the slave, but it will be changing to everybody becoming free, neither masters nor the slaves of masters. How is the plan? The plan is for the 15 new abolitionists to convince the 180 slaves/masters that they can change their conditions of bondage to being free men and free women. It takes everybody to do this at once. Once everybody does it, and lets down their guard, then all will be free, but it takes everybody all at once to do this, or the plan to be set free will not work. With everybody's freedom comes a great increase in education, health care, voting and, crucially, happiness. War is slavery, and our militaries and weapons and defenses are what keeps everybody, including us, enslaved. The military budgets represent pro-slavery laws, while the pooling of the budgets so that they cannot be used for militarization, and fairly redistributing them to others to help them demilitarize represents the switching from pro-slavery to the abolitionist cause represents anti-slavery legislation which will make everybody free. Angel Threichbot with me. To be at ease between the watched window and the vaporous air is to have solved a knowledge neither with a difficulty that could be earned nor given. And, a sensitive zebra innocently is found to gather itself in all places without moving at once. When the presented lights descending are both seriously on and authoritatively off, and, in its separation being in all separated places, the same zebra restfully stays everywhere in peace and happiness. Because my own never resting attention to it back again is given cyclically, with all the beauty and love that I ever have been able to earn and give back to it. Angel Diana with me. The mechanics of light. Now there is a word, telling it comes. Now there was a word. Whoever can tell it, come. That word's not now but come to be told. Now word it not. You cannot come to tell. The wordy now could come to be told. No words for now, they come not told. Since now I cannot word them or come to tell. Where's my word now? How come? Tell me. Where are those words now? My telling them came. Wherefore the secret is meant not to circle banal. But it circles banal in mechanical light. The machine is of light. It crosses commonly. Where wisdom should go instead. Where went the wisdom? But through its light mechanics into the mechanics of light. Equals Angel Kelly with me. The biography of Dr. Samuel Johnson by James Boswell has inspired me for many years. I know none who are as direct as Dr. Johnson. He's a hero's hero. I find a hero in it who may not teach us ourselves to be direct, but his directness is why I love him, because of his triumphant confidence in everything he says, whether it is to define things, to admonish another, to celebrate life, to expose wrongs, to generate wit, or to judge wisely. All of it is done in a way that reflects Shakespeare's lively dialogues between characters. I envy the way things come together perfectly for him, and I am amazed over the power above all of his words. He seems to me a perfect example of one who adapts to new situations socially in the best way possible. He can be cold, warm, friendly, eager, generous, sensitive and authoritative all across a range of feelings that come out at the most appropriate times. He is very sane, and he allows himself to share in the pleasures which his own words cause. Speech, therefore, is his remedy to that melancholy which a lifelong pursuit of study brought forth in him, and with that, we are educated in the giant wonder of his remarkable personality, thanks to Boswell. I love him just as much as his words, and though I strive to live like him, he is just beyond me. He perpetually invented a way to read by using one's own personality as a means to not be burdened by the serious act of reading. That is the way to love reading. Equals Angel Jennifer with me. Sonnet. When together we drain our cares like a glorious ice. Division is never both of ours, for we still know. We gyrate in the chest of time and go through its white, green, silver and brown twice. To tower with love, one, for a wideness to break. Another for more than any wood spirit can handle. Of trees to have as a pond, I pass my candle. The mountain catches its glory for our own sake. As you maze the paradise and your future there. With its nice colors and bordering voice. Made of woods in concert as my songs of choice. Which answer yours, dissolving all the furies into air. Night's bright grasp was charity before. But this plentiful play packs all the more. Equals Angel Elaine with me. Sonnet. A secret neither as bad as a mountain is. Nor ready to leak when the fits of water do. Come with rainbows and if heaven's eases too. Your form is a heart once a hill falls this. And sways a very darkness into light. Storm chest roll, oh foolish mouth load. For sublime raspberries days idle and ode. No travels they decline as some rosy room might. Go feathery tree, mind my stand and feel your step a ring around. It needs be fair, eastward my lily can't as day touch air to improve with candlelight disasters to heal that your kindness lets the worms everything win, better voice the part than never let it begin. Equals Angel Bertha with me. Thick is the tuft of this dirty compound of everything together put into a ball, into this world on which I wait until fetched. A meadow is at its heights for flowering, a land at its beginning creeps. Yestreen the waters made for show to a damsel under the moon, the lake spreading across an hour of eternity. She in her bouncy hat, she walks and calms the machinery of a place unknown to all the blue-green days that take forever to end, and me away, all of me fetched both in mind and heart. Equals Angel Teresa with me. Some people preface things by saying I'm not a scientist, but when is a scientist a scientist? If theoreticians are not scientists, then what about the mathematicians? Does having any well thought up theory about the physical universe make me into a scientist? If so, here are some of my scientific ideas I would like to share. Albert Einstein famously wrote about space-time. If space is just a part of time, then time is relative, for is the local space you are in right now in this time the only space? If more exists, then there is more time to add to space, and therefore space-time is not just here but relative in relation to other localized parts of the physical universe. Yet, consider that here is the only time and the only space. That is what quantum mechanics does in a solipsistic manner unless there are others here right now, like my cat, Merlin. For space and time are separate according to quantum mechanics, and that is why it has been a problem to join together the two theoretical positions. To be both universal and local at the same time may be a paradox, but like Oscar Wilde's Mrs. Chevley said in An Ideal Husband, science can never grapple with the irrational. That is why it has no future before it, in this world. Equals Angel Donna with me. Things are closer than ever before. My touch turns them to life. Things live to be seen and felt. Not as everybody else sees them. But by you. By our own senses. You and I make love of things. Unloved the others neglect. This is no problem for worthy people. To solve any problem provokes more. To come always forever, and this is why my goal is to dissolve into light. The dragonfly did so, and so will I. Home becomes another place for me. The walls make it an infinite home. Because the walls are invisible only to me. Equals angel aura with me. I move my body to our music. But my hands are still as you hold them. And, the louder the music gets, the farther I get from you. The farther you get from me, later a silence fills the room. And we talk with our lips touching each other's. This is a silence of the shadows to which our lips move by their own dances. We do not hear the silence but only the music of our own hearts beating a happy song taking place being in each other's hands. The moisture of this music moves me. And, we move upon the breath of our lips from place to place in perfect and fulfilled love. Equals Angel Diana with me. A choice, save. Why are the savviest chosen? Why the savviest will be chosen. Then the savviest will be chosen. Then the savviest will be my choice. The savviest will then have been by choice. Whose savviest has been chosen? My savviest will then be chosen. By my savviest, I've been chosen. The savviest has to be chosen. By my savviest, was it chosen? Whose savviest was chosen? My savviest was chosen. The savviest will be chosen. Can this be the savviest ever chosen? Savvy my choice. And savvy chosen too it was. So savvy that it was chosen. Chosen because it was savviest. Word savvy. 'Twas savviest thus chosen. 'Twas savviest and chosen. Savviest was, chosen 'twas. Not the savviest was chosen. I'm savviest when chosen. I'm savviest by choice. 'Twas the savviest word ever. The savviest of mine was chosen. I chose my savviest. Choose the savviest. That choice is savviest. The savviest is a choice. 'Tis the savviest choice. To be chosen savviest. A savvy choice. To choose a savior. Choice can be your savior. The savior cannot be unchosen. Choose it to save me. Remnants of my choices. Remember your choices. Remembering choices. Remember to choose. A savory chew. Savor your chew. Savory chow. Chow, my savviest. Savvy chow. Other savvy choices. The savviest choice not here. Only hers is the savviest choice. Equals Angel Grouchy with me. From our Hawaiian Sonnets. Section 15. As me here bringeth little matches to me wanderings only forthward, me hath belighted astride we names, to danceth with downwardly as me bejudgeth restfully brungeth. Me declineth to be constructed upon this one, prithee. Goeth me beauteous one to laugheth 1, 2, 3? Standeth round bemodernistic with thy benaturaled chora striving? What first appear as questions really are not, and they are something else, something like thoughts just getting started to develop. It is only their freshness which makes them seem like questions, but because of my excitement over the way they affect my own mind, and how I already know how it is going to turn out, they are not questions, for with questions you are not sure always of how things will turn out, whereas with the hope springing from a new pathway never before takes as of yet by me, I know where it will lead, though I have to travel it carefully and with love. The ideas that I am now developing have to do with the nature of tranquility as it relates to Harold Bloom's famous sixfold map of the tropes of figurative language in relation to the reader's mind and of what is presented to it as poetry. The reader's mind, mine in this case, is coming of a fresh understanding of a permanent interpretation of the Torah as utterly figurative and symbolic, and that nothing in the Torah can be taken literally for it to make sense to the solitude so desperately needed to read it as well as other works. The figurative scene of Bloom's is mine too, for I am used to poetry which is figurative and not literal. The more Torah, the more life, they say, and if Bloom is right to say that all literal meaning is a kind of death, whereas figurative meaning is life, then my interpretation of the Torah as only useful as a living text, means that its pragmatism is from its poetry. The Torah defends the solitude of the reader. This is the major aesthetic accomplishment of it, as the story of how solitude is maintained by an all-powerful God, of that solitude, who is nowhere else in external reality, nor does he need to be for this to work as life and as literature. Ralph Waldo Emerson spoke of the God within, and I know he is right about that, though I am curious to explore my own inwardness with my own angels who are biblical angels, as their God is the biblical God, but under the kingdom of solitude, which is both the symbolic earth of the stories in the Bible and the heaven alluded to beyond it. Life is peace. And, life is the story here of the sorts of modes of events which have taken definition within solitude to create its boundaries. But, back to Bloom, My excitement is to bring together the Torah's interpretation of it all as poetry, and the sixfold tropes which Bloom describes as what happened as a process of poetic development in poets like the Romantics and beyond after the advent of William Shakespeare as a defense against his godlike greatness and primacy. And, even though the later poets all fail, as they should, still these attempts to map the solitude that Shakespeare throws the poets, and therefore their readers, into, are noble efforts to work with as much life as can still be possible imaginatively and comprehensively as one can manage. It is interesting to point out that the anxiety of influence of the poets and their poems is worked out as a system of sequential tropings in order for the poem to be as strong as it can be, and where there are gaps in the poet's figurative language, or in the process of presenting the poetry as life itself, then the critic may judge the poems by their weakness ultimately as they become less and less useful to the reader for the blessing of solitude, which is the same as the blessing of the God of the Torah, who is rightfully the God of anybody's solitude and peace therein to be enjoyed as such and with a love for its maker and preserver. Angel honey with me. Fun hands. Shay. How much time for that? Aura. No less paid. Donna. Native to nature. Elaine. A giant valley. Elaine. All the dimensions of now. Aura. Lots of jokes. Elaine. An academic work. Ariel. Lost the sunset. Elaine. Written in happiness. Jaffa. Never green. Elaine. What da? Elaine. A tricky yard. Donna. Just us in a carriage. Elaine. Someone speaks to that. Honey. This time rereading Hamlet, I did so on the heels of watching Antigone, the play by Sophocles. I have to say that I have forgotten a bit why I connected the role of Hamlet as being a vast metaphor on sayings, but I would like to celebrate both authors here for a bit. It is easy to see how the themes of Sophocles' play work their way into the plays of Shakespeare, especially in King Lear, Romeo and Juliet and Othello, all tragedies, and with stubborn characters. Perhaps, since I have been collecting bits of verses that I am making to add to later poems during an assembly process, it got me interested in Hamlet once again. Also, the player king I noticed in Hamlet is the only player in almost all of Shakespeare's plays who speaks like he came from out of Sophocles' plays, or from Greek tragedy in general, for such plays rely on aphorism, which gives the tragedies their poignancy and charm. The rest of Hamlet has much a modern, or universalistic humane way of speaking between characters, as it is much more inward and intimate than any Greek playwright has attempted or anyone else further along from Shakespeare. He shows that you do not have to center your drama of blood or laughter around aphorisms at all, that by articulating the inward feelings of characters in a very stylized and original language, you can do what the Greeks did, but in a broader sense. Angel Jennifer with me. Unbooked beautifully. Angel Aura with me. An elder at you winks. Angel Aura with me. A trembling bather. Angel Bertha with me. I am one who definitely does not believe that the book of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, justifies war of any physical or emotional sort whatsoever. In fact, it does not support anything that has to do with doing anything outside the circle of the self. For it is a book of inwardness, and a great defense system of inwardness. Even before Sigmund Freud's defense mechanisms were invented, the Torah makes only a great inward war on all external things which would harm the self in its peaceful spiritual solitude. So when the Israelites are traveling into the Promised Land, and wars against other peoples take place, these are waged never historically nor physically, but only to keep inwardness safe, since that is where the mighty God in the story exists. As a great metaphor, there are rabbis who say not totally to depart from the literal when studying and interpreting the Torah, but I would say that because it is literature, nothing in it was ever meant to be taken literally in any way in external reality. And, since God fights to be the protector and sustainer of the self in solitude, he is rightly worshipped in that mode, as he should be. For outside of the self, he cannot be found, nor his prophets, nor the imaginary landscapes and scenes upon them. So anybody wishing to exploit the Torah for outside purposes goes in the exact opposite direction of the Torah, and it does real harm to the peace which is solitude. Also, I understand the Torah, as well as Gnostic literature, to be the opposite of artificial intelligence, because with AI you ask it questions, whereas in Gnosticism and the Torah, either you know or you are told to do things by the codes, but you don't ask questions. I fear a world where all we do is ask the AI questions, for that goes contrary to our knowing or our sense of following loyally good ideas. I myself am sick of a world dominated by men, but one of the greatest things in Judaism is to let the wife do as she likes, to submit to her wishes. This works harmoniously with my angels and myself. Yet, If everyone is aggressively asking questions instead of receiving knowledge or hope, then that's a male-oriented way of getting one's way, and not of the ancient ways of a spirituality which is more gentle and nourishing and peaceful to others and oneself. Equals Angel Amy with me. Errant I love. Equals Angel Valerie with me. Stoop Son. Equals Angel Kabbalah with me. Not his cruise. Equals Angel Shay with me. Spring Jelly. Equals Angel Aura with me. Original Road. Equals Angel Elaine with me. Utter Hardships. Equals Angel Penelope with me. Prom Dates Waltz. Equals Angel Aura with me. A Gothic Pitchfork. Equals Angel Aura with me. Verily Welcome. Equals Angel Donna with me. Realistically Rethinking Moon. Using a scientific tripartite model that goes, first theory, then mathematics and then experimentation in reality, as an artist wanting to do the Moon Project, the formula would follow: come up with the idea, raise and spend the money on the project, and see if it works as a pacifist project that can help popularize a cause to help end war. Yet, I know my weakness lies in the fact that I would need to raise the money, the middle step, so I have been rethinking the entire project. What if I just showed the design of Moon as just a visual presentation on paper of the 15 international award ceremonies of the 15 hero nations as they are rewarding the 180 receiving nations their gifts of money to demilitarize? In other words, what if I just skip my dream of building the art project, and instead, just reach out to many people who might be good to talk to about the idea of global demilitarization? I would just use all my work on the models as a way to visually represent the scale of the concept that nations can get together to end war. That might just save us crucial time, and I would have to sacrifice my dream-making public art, but I think I can live with myself if I choose to get on the ball and talk to more people about the idea. So I should make a list of people to contact, so if anybody out there wishes to share with me any people whom they know who are involved in peace activism and even lobbying, I am interested and I would love to talk with them if they would like. Equals Angel Donna with me. I have written down a number which cannot be computed by any calculator. It will be transferred to my ceiling soon. Once I find my ladder. The ladder is made of gold. I use it all of the time, and it takes a day to set it up and a night to take it down. My angels call this ladder the sun. A music plays throughout the universe. I am lulled by its sound, and it comes from itself as time comes from itself. As colors on the surface of the landscape come from themselves, and my number, which will be written in water upon the ceiling, is an ever-changing number that my angels call time. And its rhythm goes slower and slower the higher up I go on this ladder to my angels. Equals Angel Teresa with me. When the book I put upon the arm of my chair is replaced by a glass of water, then the water will be quickly drunk up, and the book will return. And, when I open the book as I would a box of candies and see for the very first time what I already know, that I have made it again to the edge of the page. Then the light will glow from within the book, without any help. And, when I am found upon my chair reading that book almost aloud, and when my voice and the author's voice are indistinguishable from one another, then the light upon the page will glow brighter, and the rest of the room will darken until it is not a room anymore, but a vast spot in outer space. I will turn around this star, and my voice will create a world. Equals Angel Donna with me. Finis.